Minute 67 at the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid are cruising past Villarreal. Kylian Mbappé and Vinícius Jr., the two brightest stars in the Madrid galaxy, have both found the back of the net. The stadium is buzzing, a celebration in full swing among the Madridistas. Then the camera cuts to the bench. A young face, barely 19, sits quietly. His eyes are distant, his expression almost empty. It's Endrick, Brazil's wonder kid, the heir to the legendary number 9 shirt. And in that fleeting image lies the tragedy of his young career. A genius trapped inside his own dream. By the time Real Madrid travel to Getafe after the October international break, Endrick will have gone 154 days, more than 5 long months, without playing a single official minute of football. The last time fans saw him dance on the pitch was back on May 18th, against Sevilla, in the penultimate round of last season's La Liga. Since that night, Endrick's world has turned upside down. Carlo Ancelotti, the somewhat conservative yet fatherly figure who still believed in him, is gone, now leading the Brazilian national team Endrick once dreamed of representing. In his place stands Xabi Alonso, young, modern, full of fresh ideas. But for Endrick, the door seems to be closing tighter every week. 2 untimely muscle injuries, whispers of a failed summer escape, and the cruel irony of being handed the sacred number 9 shirt only to keep it warm on the bench. All of it has painted a bleak picture for the boy once hailed as the new Pelé. When Alonso arrived, many believed it would mark a new era for Real Madrid's young talents. The hope was that he, once a young prodigy himself, would understand, that he would give chances to players like Endrick and Arda Güler. But reality has been a cold shower. According to sources close to the club, Alonso had a frank conversation with Endrick early on. He explained that with such fierce competition in the squad, regular minutes would be hard to come by. Endrick listened. He knew the odds, but he still chose to stay, to fight for his place. Yet the fight never really began. The win over Villarreal marked the 5th consecutive game where Endrick's name appeared on the team sheet, but not on the pitch. Competition right now is massive, especially in his position, Alonso said before the match. His time will come. It's a comforting promise, but Alonso's actions tell a very different story. In Real Madrid's attacking line, Vinícius and Mbappé are untouchable. When changes are needed, Rodrygo is always the first in line. Even other youngsters like Güler and Mastantuono seem to enjoy more trust from Alonso. Even more worrying are the recent reports claiming that Xabi Alonso has already handed President Florentino Perez a list of 5 players who no longer fit into his plans, and Endrick's name is on it, alongside Ferland Mendy and David Alaba. No official statement has been made yet, but for those who know how Real Madrid operates, this is a red flag of the highest order. Endrick isn't just struggling for minutes, he seems to have completely fallen out of his manager's vision. Rewind to the end of last season. A hamstring injury against Mallorca didn't just cut short Endrick's 2024-25 campaign, it set off a stormy summer that would change everything. While his teammates and the new coach flew to the United States for the Club World Cup, Endrick stayed behind in Madrid, grinding through endless rehab sessions. 3 times a day, he pushed himself alongside club specialists and his personal trainer, desperate to return stronger. But football can be cruel. In his absence, another young star took the spotlight. Gonzalo Garcia, a striker from Madrid's academy, seized his chance when Mbappé fell ill, lighting up the tournament and finishing as its top scorer with 4 goals. The pressure on Endrick grew heavier with every headline. And so, in late June, he flew to the US, not to play, but to be closer to the new coaching staff, to prove his professionalism, his hunger, his will to fight. Then disaster struck. During his very first training session with the team, just as hope began to flicker again, Endrick suffered a relapse of his previous injury. The club never released an official medical statement, but for the young Brazilian, the damage was devastating, physically and emotionally. He was ruled out until September, forced to miss the entire preseason and, effectively, to start from zero under Alonso. Yet, amid that dark cloud, a sudden flash of light appeared in August. Real Madrid officially announced that Endrick would inherit the number 9 shirt, the same number once worn by Alfredo Di Stefano, Ronaldo Nazario, and Karim Benzema. It was supposed to be a declaration of faith, a symbol of the club's belief in his future. But the gesture soon turned into a bitter irony. Endrick, the new owner of one of football's most sacred numbers, has yet to wear it on the pitch. The Brazilian prodigy stands like a young prince, crowned but confined, given a throne, yet locked inside his own palace. Looking back on Endrick's first season in Madrid, there were still flashes of promise, moments that hinted at something special. It was, after all, meant to be a year of adaptation and learning. He made 37 appearances across all competitions, scoring 7 goals, a tally that actually surpassed the debut seasons of his Brazilian predecessors. Rodrygo also had 7, while Vinícius managed only 4. The difference, though, lies in the minutes. Endrick played just 847 minutes in total, compared to 1,742 for Vinícius and 1,428 for Rodrygo in their respective first seasons. Even under Ancelotti, he was never fully trusted, yet his numbers were quietly impressive. 0.74 goals per 90 minutes, proof of his natural striker's instinct and efficiency. But at Real Madrid, talent alone is never enough. The club's executives often reminded him of similar slow starts from other young stars, trying to reassure him that his path was on schedule. Still, Ancelotti's cautious approach to youth development loomed large. His words from last May now sound almost prophetic. Players of their age at Madrid must get used to sitting on the bench until the day they become undroppable. Endrick either didn't grasp the warning or chose to ignore it. He believed that sheer talent would conquer everything. But in a galaxy like Real Madrid, where the world's brightest stars all burn at once, the light of a 19-year-old can easily fade into the background. The fallout of his fading role in Madrid is now being felt beyond Spain. For the 3rd consecutive international break, Endrick's name is missing from Brazil's squad list. The cruel twist. The man now managing the Seleção is none other than Carlo Ancelotti himself. Sources close to the player say Ancelotti still holds affection for his former protege. But affection doesn't win you a place in Brazil's World Cup plans. Without club minutes, there's simply no platform for Endrick to compete for a spot at the 2026 World Cup. The dream that fuels every Brazilian footballer is slipping further out of reach. Endrick's camp has already drawn up a contingency plan. A review will take place in January 2026. If the situation doesn't improve, a loan move in the second half of the season will be the only viable escape, a chance to reignite his career and keep that World Cup dream alive. He's confident he'll be back on the pitch soon. He's proven that he knows how to make every minute count, said Thiago Frias, Endrick's agent. Confidence is essential, but at the Bernabeu, reality can be brutal. Everyone acknowledges Endrick's growth, professionalism, and talent. But those virtues alone don't guarantee survival in the unforgiving ecosystem of Real Madrid. He chose to test himself at the summit of world football. But perhaps he chose the summit too soon. The Bernabeu has no patience for waiting. It demands instant success, and that pressure can crush even the brightest of diamonds. From a global prodigy once courted by every giant in Europe, Endrick now stands at the most critical crossroads of his young career. Should he stay, clinging to a sliver of hope under Xabi Alonso, or leave to rediscover himself and rescue his World Cup dream? The answer will come in January. But until then, every match that passes with Endrick sitting on the bench cuts a little deeper, another wound to his pride, and another reminder of the tragic weight of that number 9 shirt at the Santiago Bernabeu.